Hello, everyone. My name is Sporadic Flow, and welcome to the series where my partner and I explore and build in the Homestead mod pack until we get bored. This is episode 1. Starting today with a little bit of path building to map out the area. The plan is to build a cozy town, and we are starting with a couple fields and a little starter house. So let's go. I'd like to get some sort of good food supply up and running, which means we're committing to building crop fields before anything else. I'd like to line these fields with an assortment of stones, so we've taken a trip into the mines. No issues with mobs, which is nice since my partner already did the dangerous work of lighting this place up. Now, all I need is to avoid getting distracted, and we'll be back at the surface in no time. One of the things that I usually struggle with in modded Minecraft is the sheer amount of blocks and patterns to choose from. Fortunately, I've got a decent idea of what I want this project to look like, so that hasn't been too much of an issue so far. I've decided to place a rough outline with a few different blocks to see how they work together, but I'm not convinced any of these apart from the andesite will actually work for this part. Yeah, definitely gonna use only andesite for the field edges. This area had some wonderful apple trees growing when we first arrived, so I'd like to work them into the fields a little bit, and these little awkward spots at the edges of the fields should be perfect for that. I've also got a bunch of dirt slabs that I can place so that I'm not constantly breaking crops when I cut through the fields. Perimeter is complete, and now for the actual farming part. The area with the trees is feeling a little too empty for me, so I think I'll try adding some flowers and see how that works. Not completely sure what the final look will be just yet. As with most of my projects, I've underestimated the amount of blocks that I'll actually need, so we are back to the mines to do some mining things. And we can get back to working the rest of the fields. I've been trying to hide most of my water sources under the edge rocks, but the few that need to be in the center of the fields make for wonderful sources of light. Another field, another apple tree. For this one, we're going to use a mix of crops. The ones I've picked are tomatoes, onions, potatoes, and tea leaves. There's a dog wandering around my field, and I need to be my friend. I don't have any bones, but fortunately, the lovely lady on the hill does. The fields are done, and I can finally start fixing up this old ruin that will be the foundation of our starter house. I've already moved into the existing basement, and now we can focus on the part that'll actually be seen. For this build, I wanted to try some of the modded blocks, so I'm using some Hollywood for the walls of the house. When I build this style of house, I'm never sure how to transition between the floors, so I might need to experiment a little bit and see what we end up liking. I'm at a point with this build where I keep telling myself to trust the process because I'm struggling to see how it all fits together. I think this should work, but I don't see it at the moment. Maybe I need to add a roof. The colors just aren't vibing with me, but maybe a roof could help that. I keep bouncing around between projects. Just got distracted by this one trying to figure out how to actually get upstairs. I feel like my cat when we found him as a kitten. We gave him a bunch of toys and he would just run from toy to toy every few seconds. So much joy, so little focus. This isn't looking great. Maybe if I texture the walls, it'll look a little less bad? I was just informed by my love divine that she has a few different workbenches at her place that might give us a few more block options. So we're gonna go check those out once we finish planting these fields. Well, as you can see, I've tried a few different blocks, and they just don't work color-wise. And naturally, I decided that jungle wood might be the solution, so off we go. Just found the jungle wood, and not a moment too soon. I'm being called back to base to help with a surprise raid. So the raid kinda took care of itself. I'm not sure how, but all that remains is a trapped ravager and I think one pillager? Anyway. A lot happened after that. I decided I needed glass for windows, went and found a beach. On my way I found a horse, and then I actually got some sand. Stumbled upon a group of villagers, stole a radio and a mini fridge from a house nearby, and saved a villager. Then realized I could pick up the villager while riding a horse, and took it home. As I don't really have a good spot for these villagers yet, I just dropped them in the cage at the original campsite to keep their friend company. Let's try on a few hats that I found while I was out on my adventure. So it turns out the trip to the jungle was meaningless because I decided white concrete would be the best for the walls. So here we are, making white concrete. These fields really came together nicely. Can't wait to see how it looks a few episodes from now. After very little consideration, I've decided that it's best just to start this entire project over. We are going back down to the original ruin and we will start anew. This time I'm changing my approach a little bit and I'm building a frame for the second floor out of stripped spruce and adding a little intrigue with some upside down diorite stairs. So I don't remember how this chicken got here, but I've decided to throw any eggs I find and see what happens. Also, the goddess next door dropped off a pair of antlers while I was out. I know we're just on the frame of this build, but I already like it better. Adding a few of the walls to see how it looks. I love that combination. It's pretty classic, but I really do like it. Oh, one hatched. And the walls are in. Now, just like before, I've been playing with a few different ideas to transition the first floor to the second floor, and I think I'm getting pretty close to what I want. Dark oak flooring up here looks really nice, and I'm happy with where we are build-wise. Finally. I want to add a roof now, and I'm torn between tough and deep slate, so we're gonna try both. The trip down didn't end well for me though. I ran into a skelly and very quickly died. Oh, early game. You're so fun. Was on my way out and found some pretty white blocks. I think they're limestone. I'll grab a little and see how they fit in. Just noticed that I had a hat bag in my inventory, and don't I look fabulous? Maybe it's not an everyday look though. I'm glad this message makes sense in Minecraft, because it would be really strange out of context. Okay, so I've been filled in on what's going on, and our lovely neighbor has built a new 26.1 version of the villager breeder that accommodates for the bigger heads of the baby villagers. Now I just need to figure out what's actually going wrong. It looks like the bread is just falling down before the villagers have a chance to pick it up, so I'm going to replace the glass pane with a wood fence, which is slightly bigger, and see if that changes anything. And it works! Although I realized a little too late that we didn't actually need to make this version anyway, since Homestead doesn't have the new baby mod designs yet. I think deep slate's the way to go. The tough is just too light. The more blocks I place for this roof, the more confident I am in my decision to start over. Periodic Flow has made the advancement Surge Protector. Not sure what that one is, but I think I almost got hit by lightning. I woke up to a zombie horse nearby, and as intended, innocently walked towards it, only to be pounced on by a zombie horseman. Not the best start to the day. Anyway, took care of the zombies and didn't kill one single horse. I think I've got a total of 4 zombie horses now. And they can just hang out in the horse hole until I get around to building a stable. 5-6 episodes from now. I've been replacing the diorite stairs with a few different variants of the limestone that I found, and I think this is absolutely the way to go. Oh yeah, that was a good choice, and now the blocks have a nicer flow to them. With flow between sections of this build in mind, I'm replacing a bunch of the bricks on the upper half of the first floor with variants of tuff, since that will help transition the lighter stone into the darker stripped spruce wood. Yep. Stepping back now, it does look like there's just a little bit of shadow right before it hits the second floor. Good call. I usually try to work the windows in when I'm building the walls, but I think I might do it this way moving forward. Oh, and it looks like the Lady of the Lake left me a villager. They are just going to exist up here for now. Anyway, back to figuring out where we want the windows. The window placement looks decent so far, but I think we need another window on that section that pokes out to the left. It's a work in progress. Now to help get a better picture of this build, let's add some glass and windowsills. That looks a little better now. I think we'll add some flowers later, but I like the way it's looking so far. I took a quick trip to go find some blue flowers that I needed for some decorations, and quickly got distracted by a little hedgehog who I needed to take home so I could have a house hedgehog. It looks like a Phineas to me. I was struggling to see the layout I wanted, so I decided to start by building out a bedroom that could be separate from the living area and the kitchen. There isn't much room, but I think if I can get this right, it'll make this place feel more like an apartment instead of just a single big room with a bunch of things in it. Finally found the correct shape of the room, and I added a few half windows just to see how they look before building the full window. I think I actually like the half windows. Okay, I think those windows really work well. Just need a few flower boxes under them to fill out the wall, but I think that should do the trick. The vertical logs in this center that were part of the original frame are an issue though. They were giving me some issue with designing the room since it doesn't look quite right from the inside, so I think I'm just going to remove it completely and see how it looks. Just need to replace these with some white concrete and fix up a few spots. And yeah, that looks 1,000 times better. I think with the flower boxes under the half windows and maybe turning this blank wall on the right side into like a living wall with a bunch of flowers and stuff, I think that'll look very, very lovely. Let's add some ceiling beams to give us some more depth above us, and then we need to grab a few more materials. I love those balconies. It's always hard to get the Juliet balconies right, because you want them to feel like they're part of the building and not just something that's sticking out, which is a little bit difficult in Minecraft, but I think she did those really, really well. And it's finally time to start filling this bedroom out, and it turns out that you can pick different colors of sheets without changing the bed. I don't think these pink ones are going to work though, so let's try a different color. It's better, but I'm not 100% sure if it's the final result. It'll work for now though. Now I just need to add a few end tables, a dresser, a bench at the end of the bed, and a super big hat stand apparently. I'm not sure what to put on it, but I want it in here one way or another. Scratch that. I know exactly what to put here. A giant camera. I think it just works. Not sure why though. We've got a long narrow kitchen to add in here, and I've gone with pink cabinets and a white countertop. I think it brings a lot of joy into the space. I needed help with crafting something in the kitchen, so I went to my neighbor's house, but I had to wait a little. By the time she got there, I'd completely forgotten why I was actually there, so oh well. Added in the fridge and the remaining countertops, and then decided I was annoyed that the villager was just watching me. It's time we move them. There. They will now live in the basement with the chickens. So I discovered I could craft pet beds, and look how cute this is. I mean, you couldn't find anything cuter than Phineas right now. Spent some time adding in a couch and then another pet bed for our dog, who I've decided to name Orla. We've got a cute little family going on here. Spent some time adding in a coffee table, another pet bed so we can all hang out in the living area together, and a table and chairs to eat at, and then only realized that I left one of the vertical supports that I wanted to remove. It's just throwing off the balance of the room. I removed the vertical beam and decided to adjust the wooden supports underneath the extended part of the house, so that everything flowed a little better, and I'm really happy with the change. Without the beam, I was able to place in some room dividers, and now the space feels so much less awkward than it used to. I realized I hadn't put in an oven in the kitchen yet, so I added one, moved the sink a little, and then decorated a little bit with a cutting board and a lovely radio on top of the fridge. As I continued decorating, I realized I needed cocoa beans, so I set off for the jungle again, and only got distracted by 2 sunken ships and some buried treasure. I found the cocoa beans pretty quickly before finding a ruined portal to loot, and then I noticed a village in the distance where I found an axolotl and a fish tank. I took it naturally. On my way back, I thought I might as well grab some sand, and while doing so, a bunch caved in, and I found some more treasure. What a lucky trip. I've got a spice cabinet and a china cabinet and a lamp placed so far. The lamp doesn't feel right to me. Yeah, replacing it with a potted sapling feels so much better. With the axolotl tank and the hanging plants and shelves of books, this wall feels like part of a lived-in home now. I just realized I had a couple of plushies. So the panda goes in the bedroom, and the shark is the perfect fit for the top of the kitchen cabinets. Next, I added some blinds and curtains around the apartment for a little privacy and to give the windows a little depth. With that, all I need to do is place some lanterns and get rid of the torches. This might be my favorite interior that I've ever done. Actually, I know it's my favorite interior. Can't wait to see how it evolves. Next is to add the flower boxes on the windows and build the living wall in the back of the house. And then I think the exterior is going to be done. The final piece of the puzzle is building an outdoor area. So I worked in some flowers and a ton of produce crates with everything we've been growing from the fields. It really helped fill the area out and makes the building feel more like it's part of the farm instead of just a home near it. Added in some crafting benches and another potted sapling, just to bring some life to the area. While working on the outside, my antler queen showed up, so I gave her a tour of the apartment. I love showing this build off. Finally harvested enough wheat to fill out the side of this build with a pile of hay bales. And things are feeling fantastic. Was adding a couple flowers to the pond I just built when I noticed that the sapling I placed in the pot had actually grown into a tree, and it grew through my house. Thanks to the mod that Homestead has, chopping down the tree was very easy. I went to put away the extra logs and couldn't figure out why I had multiple stacks of stripped spruce on me. That was until I went upstairs and realized that all the logs in my build had been removed. Hold please. Well, crisis resolved, and I got back outside and was able to place a table and some seating on the patio. Added a tea set and a game of checkers just for a little life. With that, we are finished with our starter home, and oh my. I think this is one of my favorite builds I've ever done. The texturing, the transitions between the sections of the house, they all feel so natural. And the interior. I've never built anything like this before. It feels like an actual apartment. Thank you for watching the first episode of the series, and I can't wait to see what I build next. I've got some big plans here, and this is just the beginning. Like and subscribe to follow our adventure. I'll see you in the next one.